US was founded in 2008 in Curitiba, Paraná, Brazil, by a group of friends who were, really deeply connected to the skateboarding scene, design, and urban culture. The name comes from the Portuguese word usar, which means to dare, and that kind of captures the brand's spirit, challenging norms, innovating, just doing things differently. It can also be read as us in English, which honestly reinforces that sense of community. The idea was simple yet ambitious: to create a Brazilian sneaker brand made by skateboarders for skateboarders, with its own identity, without relying on international trends or copying foreign models. At the time, the market was dominated by international brands like Vans, Nike SB, and DC Shoes. OUS set out to break that dominance by offering authenticity, Brazilian soul, and creative independence. Between 2007 and early 2008, the founding team spent months testing materials, developing the first prototypes, and designing the shoes, all with their own funds, completely independently, with no external investors. So, they chose to keep all production in Brazil, which, honestly, is a pretty rare move in the skate and lifestyle footwear industry. Their goal was to make sure they had real quality control, and at the same time, support the local economy. In October 2008, US launched its very first model, the Imigrante. The name really said it all: a tribute to those who come from the outside looking for space, striving for recognition. It totally symbolized the founders themselves and the brand as a whole. Outsiders just trying to earn their place in the market. The Imigrante had this super clean design, solid skate support, and a visual language that was, really distinct from the traditional brands out there. It was actually really well received, especially by skaters and creatives who were looking for something new. Following the launch, US began to grow organically, spreading through the skateboarding scene and among street culture enthusiasts. In 2009, the brand released other models like the Nacarado, its first pro model shoe created with skater Rodrigo Nacarado. During this early phase, US secured its first retail points in skate shops and specialized stores. The brand gained attention in skate magazines and blogs. It also built a unique visual identity, blending graphic design, street art, and Brazilian elements. The brand also focused on original skate videos, which further strengthened its ties with the scene, always with its own aesthetic and do-it-yourself production, reinforcing its independent DNA. So at this stage, US was really solidifying its identity and, resonating with the culture around it. The brand wasn't just about sneakers anymore, it was becoming a symbol of individuality and authenticity within the Brazilian skate and street scene. That deep connection with its roots and its community gave US a unique voice that stood out in a crowded market. Between 2011 and 2013, US entered a new phase. After establishing itself as a promising brand in Brazilian skate and streetwear, this period marked its operational maturity and the solidification of its unique identity. In 2011, US focused on better structuring its production and improving product quality. Its sneaker lineup expanded with new models, varied materials, and greater attention to detail, all still made in Brazil, with the same philosophy: original design for real street culture. Distribution also began to grow. What was once limited to just a few skate shops started reaching other states, with more retailers coming on board and, honestly, a strengthening online store. OUS stayed independent, no investors, no big campaigns, but with a loyal and, growing base. In 2012, US took a bold step. It began expressing itself more clearly as a cultural brand. Its sneaker releases started reflecting Brazilian themes, from amateur soccer to street aesthetics, graffiti, music, and underground art. Each collection carried not only style but, real meaning. The brand's visual language became even sharper, with humor, wordplay, and graphic boldness, really speaking the language of the street. That year also marked the rise of creative collaborations. OUS partnered with visual artists and creatives from various fields, always keeping an original approach rooted in independence. Signature pro models from skaters became a key part of the brand's identity, showcasing Brazilian talent who shared the same values. By 2013, US was no longer just a promising upstart. It was a fully respected force in the national scene, with a strong skate team, presence in urban culture events, and honestly, increasingly daring releases. Limited editions from this period reflected refined design and finish, while still staying true to its accessible and authentic spirit. By the end of 2013, OUS was a respected, admired, and, most importantly, relevant brand. Still rooted in skate and street culture, it now had more structure, recognition, and cultural influence. It had evolved from just a sneaker brand into a true symbol of Brazilian creativity. As time went on, US continued to grow, really consolidating its position as a cultural reference. The brand wasn't just about shoes anymore, it was about a lifestyle, a mindset, and a sense of belonging. People across Brazil started to see themselves in US, identifying with its creative spirit and independent attitude. From 2014 to 2016, US entered a brand consolidation phase, not only in skateboarding, but as a reference for creativity and independence in Brazilian streetwear. After carving out space among culturally aware consumers, the brand began refining its visual language, increasing the impact of its releases, and deepening its connection with the community that had supported it from the start. By 2014, US was already viewed as an established brand with a strong identity. Instead of chasing global trends, it continued creating on its own terms, blending graphic design, urban references, and Brazilian soul into sharper collections. Each sneaker release told a visual story with bold graphics, unconventional colors, and names that resonated directly with its audience. It was a balancing act between commercial growth and preserving its street DNA. During this time, OUS began catching the eye of a broader public. Still niche, it was now being worn by musicians, graffiti artists, tattooers, MCs, and content creators, becoming part of the urban culture's collective imagination. The brand didn't chase media attention, it lived where the culture lived, on the streets, at skate spots, on social media, and in underground scenes. OUS was alive, made for real people, and that was its greatest strength. In 2015, the bond with the streets grew even stronger. OUS invested in audiovisual productions that went beyond skateboarding, with creative scripts, original art direction, and distinct editing styles. These videos didn't just sell products, they reflected the entire universe around the brand, like the way people talked, dressed, moved, and saw the world. It was more cultural than commercial, and honestly, it drew fans even closer. US skate team began standing out more nationally. Each skater represented not just performance, but lifestyle. Signature pro models by skaters like Rodrigo Nacarado, they really strengthened the link between individuality and identity. These sneakers made a statement. People didn't wear OUS for status. They wore it because it meant something. So as we look at this journey, it's clear that creative expansion has always gone hand in hand with the brand's enduring values. It's about pushing boundaries but never losing sight of what matters most. In 2016, the brand further expanded its creative output. Key collaborations and bold limited editions were released, alongside accessories like hats, shirts, and socks that completed the OUS lifestyle. All made in Brazil, with careful attention to detail and a brand philosophy that never wavered. Design-wise, OUS came into its own. By now, you could spot a pair of OUS from across the street, even without visible branding. That came from visual consistency and an aesthetic direction that avoided the obvious. Something, pretty rare in Brazilian fashion. By the end of 2016, US wasn't just a skate brand, it was a brand of ideas. Though it had grown far from the early handmade prototypes, it was still the same bold project born in Curitiba, 100% independent, 100% Brazilian, 100% true to the streets. Between 2017 and 2020, US experienced one of its most culturally impactful and creatively rich periods. This was when it transitioned from niche status into a national reference in streetwear, all while keeping authenticity as a non-negotiable value. So in 2017, with a strong presence in both skateboarding and street fashion, AUS deepened its focus on storytelling, collaborations, and artistic design. Each drop came with its own identity, provocative names, unique materials, and rich narratives. Then, in 2018, US celebrated its 10-year anniversary with special releases and tributes to its independent roots, honoring skaters, artists, creators, and loyal fans. It had moved beyond niche, now reaching new audiences with authenticity and creative power. In 2019, US sneakers began to explore even bolder design languages, textures, and concepts, bringing the brand closer to the worlds of art and street fashion, while keeping skateboarding at the core, with strong support for its skate team and video production. When the pandemic hit in 2020, AUS adapted with sensitivity. Production slowed, releases adjusted, but the brand maintained a strong connection with its audience. It was a tough year, but it reaffirmed AUS's core values: independence, truth, street culture, and creativity that doesn't copy, it invents. Leading with independence and innovation, US continued to push boundaries in the sneaker world. The brand's commitment to doing things its own way, really set it apart. Every step forward was about staying true to its roots, while always looking for new ways to create and inspire. From 2021 to 2025, US stayed strong as one of Brazil's leading independent brands. Even after the pandemic's impact, the brand came back stronger, launching collections with innovation, concept, and deep identity. Sneaker design became even more refined, with daring silhouettes, creative materials, and storytelling in every detail, always with Brazilian soul. During this time, US expanded its collaborations, partnering with artists, musicians, and independent brands that shared its values, authenticity, creative resistance, and national production. The brand also gained visibility outside the skate world, attracting a broader audience while staying rooted in its origins. With sharp campaigns, powerful videos, cultural actions, and a consistent tone of voice, US maintained its loyal fan base and inspired new generations. In an era full of imitation, US kept creating, with freedom, purpose, and, both feet on the street. Today, US isn't just a sneaker brand. It's a mindset doing things the right way with a unique style without depending on anyone. 100% Brazilian, 100% independent, 100% original. Founded in Curitiba in 2008 by a group of friends deeply connected to skateboarding, design, and urban culture, AUS is a fully independent Brazilian sneaker brand that has continuously challenged global market norms by creating authentic, innovative footwear crafted entirely in Brazil. Rooted in the spirit of daring creativity and cultural pride, AUS designs shoes, not just as products, but as expressions of identity, community, and resilience. Born from the streets, made for those who live and breathe the culture, always pushing boundaries, embracing originality, and inspiring a generation to ousser, or dare, in every step they take. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hey, don't forget to turn on notifications.